Boy, oh boy, do I have a news break for y'all. A little bit of news involving New Japan Pro Wrestling, involving actually the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, if this is your first time checking us out, please be sure you like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Tell a friend and tell a friend. We are SOS Wrestle Talk, the most dangerous wrestling podcast out there. Don't let any other go by that name. That is definitely us. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and talk. So the New Japan Pro Wrestling president, to be more specific, Hiroshi Tanahashi, he actually addressed the media this morning on June 4th, and he has a 10-point plan for the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling. So Tanahashi, here is his 10-point plan. Let's go ahead without any further ado. Let's break that 10-point plan down. I thought this was important to talk about because we are primarily, I ain't gonna say primarily, New Japan is probably my favorite promotion. It's the promotion I cover the most. So I figured this is pretty important to talk about. So Hiroshi Tanahashi's 10-point plan. Plan number 1, talent discovery and development. He says young talent should wrestle more in high-level spots. Wrestlers still need to earn their spots in tournaments like the G1. New Japan also wants the best wrestlers in their early 20s in Japan. I think that's actually a great idea, and that's highly vital. If you have been a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling for a long time, like I have, you know how they kind of generally do their young lion system. You'll be a young lion in your early 20s. You'll probably stay a young lion maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years, if not longer. Then you'll go on excursion. You come back, you're maybe in your late 20s, and you can start to get into your early 30s, and your career goes on and so forth. So Tanahashi looked like he's trying to turn that on its ear and have wrestlers in their early 20s in high-profile spots from the get-go. And I think that's pretty important. And it kind of keeps, I don't know, like it gives them, I guess, maybe a more of an allegiance to New Japan in a way, as opposed to just being a young lion and going out on excursion, coming back, you know, which is a great formula. I actually like that formula, but them maybe attacking it a little early, I think is actually pretty good. Number 2. He wants to elevate the value of the title belts. He says it is important to clarify the role and the concept of each title. Strong titles will be defended on U.S. shows only going forward. Company acknowledges that tag titles are about to be combined to Dominion. That process might take a little time. The company acknowledges that 13 titles may be challenging to follow. He said this process is going to take 12 to 18 months. So it looks like what Tanahashi is ultimately saying here, less is more. We're going to get less titles. And that's actually a great thing for New Japan. You can kind of keep New Japan and the New Japan Strong brands separate. It looks like they're trying to revitalize that New Japan Strong brand, because I felt like during the CV era that was a strong, without any further word, that was a strong addition to New Japan Pro Wrestling. And now I feel like they're kind of like not really directionless. They really don't know where to go with it. So I think this is actually, we're steering in the right direction with how Tanahashi's trying to push that. So number 3, reducing/eliminating outside interference. They haven't determined concrete penalties, but interference will be limited. A lot of talk and questions about whether House of Torture is the reason for this goal. So company also acknowledges the frustrations regarding the House of Torture. The company also acknowledges that pro wrestling is unique when it comes to wrestlers turning things in their favor any way they can. So it looks like we're kind of getting a return to form to previous styles of New Japan Pro Wrestling. I say before Bullet Club, because you've had heel stables, but really not heel stables as how the Bullet Club have been, to where they have outside interference. They're going to do stuff like that. They're going to do American Pro Wrestling heel tactics is pretty much what I'm saying. So it's been a while, and I wouldn't be upset with the return to form. Not saying it's Enochiism, but kind of close to it. Whatever. Number 4, increasing the prominence and status of the New Japan Hontai, which, if you don't know Hontai, that's the home team. Tanahashi wants Hontai to be a desired unit for young wrestlers or wrestlers returning from excursion to be a part of. And I think that's a good idea, because especially foreign wrestlers, you think they're going to Bullet Club or United Empire, or it's rare that LIJ is such a elite group, without no pun intended, that they just don't accept everybody. I feel like people either go to Bullet Club, either go to United Empire, you might even go to House of Torture. So, but that kind of think that's along the lines of New Japan's stable-based wrestling programs, their system. So I think that we might be kind of leading away from that. If I'm taking away from that taking away that from what he said, that being Tanahashi. So I'm not upset with that. Number 5, strengthening ties with Stardom. Stardom will be owned by New Japan as the end of June. So they're looking for improved operational efficiency, scheduling, and crossover events featuring New Japan and Stardom wrestlers, which I think both companies and all wrestling fans can benefit from if they're a fan of Stardom or New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'm definitely a fan of that. I'm not really the biggest Stardom guy, not because I'm not so, oh, Stardom is trash. No, I don't think Stardom's trash. I actually think Stardom is great from what I've seen of it, but I'm not the hugest, quote unquote, Joshi fan. I love women's pro wrestling, but it's just hard for me I don't have a subscription. So if anybody want to put that description in the DM or something for me, holler at your boy. I will definitely take it. We can share subscriptions. You know what I mean? But now, all jokes aside, I would love to get more into Stardom. From what I've seen from that company, I did like. So I think that's a good idea. 6, strengthening its ties with AEW, which is a controversial one for me because if y'all know, I've been very outspoken with the partnership between New Japan and AEW. I'm not upset with it, but I'm just like, hey, so this is what Tanahashi says. New Japan is very happy with their relationship with AEW. They say there is a perception that AEW is treated as a sub-brand or looked down on by AEW. Some perception of NJPW being behind comes from the economics at the moment. But the truth of the matter is AEW strength and New Japan strengths are very different. From a developmental talent from scratch to historical and traditional perspective, there's a lot of New Japan can offer that AEW cannot. So there's a lot we can do together. And while while much of it isn't something we can discuss right now, there's a lot we will do. But the idea that New Japan is an inferior partner is definitely not correct. We are absolutely on even footing, and that's something we'll prove in the near future. And I'm glad Tanahashi mentioned that because if you're a fan of New Japan Pro Wrestling or a fan of AEW, I'm sure you heard the rumblings that this partnership has been kind of one-sided in the side of AEW. So I'm thinking that Tanahashi having this presidential role, we're going to see more of not an iron fist Tanahashi, but if you watch the press conference from Double or Nothing, he was definitely a presence there. And he was very stern. It was very interesting for Tanahashi to be there. So, number 7, improving the live fan experience. They have a couple set ideas. Different prices, different pricing tiers, female-only seating sections. I don't really know how that would... I don't know about the domestic seating issue with, maybe having women sit by themselves. Or I can't speak on that. Let's see, what else were they talking about? So I said, I left off with female only seating, special food menus. Hey, I'm a fan of food. You can't go wrong with food. Give me a special menu in New Japan. And consider a number of people in like a box type area. I think that's a good idea as well. Number 8, improving the quality of New Japan World. It says archive should be complete by the end of the year. Live viewing will be fixed/improved. So it's pretty much an archival, a live viewing experience deal with New Japan World, which I think with the revamp that they've done, because they've had you had your first iteration of New Japan World, which I have been subscribed to for a very long time. You have your first iteration, which I thought was fine, thought it worked pretty well. Then they switched over, they updated, I don't know, this new OS that they were using. I was not a fan of it. It burns your phone battery up just tremendously. And it seemed like it always buffered. This new system that they're using is slightly better. It's actually tremendously better than the one they were using previously. I think it's a vast improvement. So my live experience watching New Japan World on my phone, whether it be my laptop, my TV, whatever, I think it's actually improved from when they've upgraded from what they had previously. So then they said, ooh, this one is actually interesting right here, because I don't know if you guys know, but New Japan had a personal information breach over in Japan. So number 9 is improved treatment of personal information. Apologies. This is what Tanahashi says. Apologies for letting that USB drive get stolen/lost. Bad business, man. You can't do that, bro. You just can't just be losing people's personal information, Tana. I love you, bro, but come on. Plans are in place to keep data safe going forward. Then number 10 says, thank you to New Japan sponsors. So that was kind of a rough summary. What Tanahashi said, the full interview is actually on NJPW1972.com. I thought this was very pertinent and important information for me to get out there as far as to talk to y'all and let y'all know what's going on. As far as the not in the in-ring, the non-in-ring stuff as far as New Japan. So if you like this video, it's a different kind of spin than me covering shows. Just tell me in the comments below. But, I'll get back to covering shows soon. It's your boy, Pro Wrestling Fly God, Stardust Shiaku, Bloodseer Naito, representing SOS Wrestle Talk here. And yeah, this has been a news break. So shout out to President Tana. He's out here. He out here like on some masterpiece shit, if you ask me. But that's if you ask me. But I'ma holler at all y'all later. Y'all take it easy. Peace.